And we're back with some more Calgary Flames franchise mode in FHM 9. And so far, we're doing pretty well. 14-8-1. We're second in the Pacific Division, though that could change at any moment, given how, as we go back to divisions, how close it is between second and seventh. That is a 5-point difference between us and Vegas. So we need to make sure we stay on top of it. With Doug Elfring out for the past few games, that has left a pretty big hole in our lineup. Luckily, Elfring is going to be back soon. It's only a day-to-day injury. So I'm going to trust that this team can still get it done. But definitely going to be checking up on the team pretty often, because this is a situation that if we stray even slightly off course, we could end up missing the playoffs in this division. So I think with that being said, we'll advance through December and see where we're at on January 1st. All right, we're here on January 1st. We are 22-11-2, still second in the division, although we are only 4 points ahead of the fourth place Edmonton Oilers. So do still have to keep this pace going here, but we're starting to create some ground between us and a few of the teams in our division, so that's good. Look at the player stats. You got Coronado with 43 points, 39 for Brisson, 32 for Pegamagabo, 24 for Elfring in 27 games played, 22 for Muse, 20 for Wright, Bernier, and Byram, 16 for Panamarov and Heis, 14 for Martin, 12 for Sheets, 11 for Stankoven, 10 for Mukamadulin, only 8 for Nico Hischier, really. He must be getting like fourth line time. Yeah, he's getting fourth line time. He's got 10-30. And then in goal, you have Debut with 28 games played and a .912 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Alexander with 8 games played and a .906. So Debut, good to see that he's having a good follow-up to last season. Let's see the team stats. Goals for per game, we are 5th in the league with a 3.49. And goals against per game, we are 13th in the league with a 2.97. Faceoffs, we're 5th with a 51.8. And power play, we are, 21st with 17.1. And the penalty kill, we are 5th with an 86.9. So overall, not bad. Power play could definitely be better. But as long as we're keeping up this pace, then I can't really complain too much. Had a couple of ugly games in there last month, including against Anaheim and against Dallas. But overall, not too bad. So I think we can keep going here till at least February, if not the trade deadline. Actually, while I'm thinking of it, let's get Alex Pegamagabo re-signed, because I know I want to re-sign him regardless. He's only asking for 4.4 for 5 years. I will absolutely do that. I'll try to take you down to 4 mil. Although I have a feeling he's not going to take anything less. Oh, okay. He will. He's willing to negotiate here. How about 4.05? Oh, all right. He came down a lot there. 4.14. Come down to 4.1 for 5 years and we'll do it. There it is. Then there's Brisson and Muse to re-sign as well, and Nico. I don't know if I'm going to re-sign Nico yet, because he's only got 8 points and 31 games played. It's also going to depend on how he, number one, performs in the playoffs, and number two, how much he regresses this season in terms of his star ability. I know I want to re-sign Muse. That's for sure. He wants 6.2 for 3 years. I mean, yeah, he's worth it. Definitely worth it. I kind of want to give you a 4 or 5 year deal if I can. So I'll start with 6.5 for 5 years. All right, cool. He accepted that. Looks like he wasn't too stubborn about the length. Now, Brisson, he is 31, so I'm not going to give him a long-term deal if I can help it, but I do want to re-sign him. He wants 6 mil for 3 years. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll definitely do that for him. He's worth it. I think even later on in the contract, he'll still be worth it at that point. As for response, 5.8 for 3 years. Very nice. And I think for right now, I'm done with contract extensions. So with that, let us advance in the simulation. Oh, whoa, okay. Stop it right there. Oh, no. Doug Elfring. Don't tell me. Okay. It doesn't look like he's out for long. All right, day to day. I was just about to stop this simulation when that happened. We are currently 26-18-2 on January 24th. We are 5th in our division. This division is ridiculous, dude. I mean, we have been falling off a little bit. I will admit that. We have gotten more losses than wins recently in this month. But, man, this is such a competitive division. Like, the Vancouver Canucks, who are in 6th, are only 2 points behind us. So we could very easily fall down to 6th if we're not careful. Not to mention Winnipeg, who's in 4th in the Central, also vying for a wild card. So, oh, man, this season's going to be rough right up to the finish, isn't it? Let's see what's going on here. Debut, 37 games played, 914 save percentage. Looks like he's kept a steady pace. I think it was at a 912 last we checked, so he's actually gotten better since the last time we checked the stats. Yeah, lack of depth scoring might be hurting this team a little bit. Where are we goals for per game? We're ninth in the league with a 3.24. Goals against per game we're ninth as well with a 2.87. What about power play? How's that? Oh yeah, the power play needs to get better. 15.8. Yeah, that can't stand. We need to fix the power play somehow. Unfortunately, the power play and the lines in general are not under my control. That would be Mr. Rod Brindamore. So the only thing I can really do in that respect is either acquire a new player or fire a coach. And I don't particularly want to fire a coach at the moment. Who's on the power play? Hayes, Brisson, Pegamagabo, Muse, Bernier, Coronado, Walker, and Stankoven, and then Emery and Sheets. I don't agree with Walker there. That's an odd choice. That's definitely an odd choice. Why would you have Adam Walker there of all people when you have all this talent? At forward, you have, not including Elfrin because he's injured at the moment, but you have Pegamagabo, Coronado, Wright, who I didn't see on the power play. Yeah, Wright's not on the power play. Why is he not? I would put Wright any day over Walker. And Stankoven, only 20 points this year. Yeah, he's kind of dropped off. Yeah, he had 74 points the first year we were here, but then 46, 45. Looks like he's on pace for around the same this year. So that year he definitely overperformed, like a lot of players on that team did. But let's see, Panamarov. I put Panamarov. Is Panamarov on the power play? I don't think so. Yeah, I didn't see him. Yeah, he's not there. I don't know why we have Walker there. Hayes, I can sort of understand. He had 47 points last year, but so far this year only 19. So, I mean, coach, I would do a little bit of a switch up there with the power play because whatever you got rolling right now with these guys is clearly not working. Okay, so I just did the assistant creates lines and Panamarev's on there now. But Walker's still there. Yeah, that's certainly an odd choice to put Adam Walker on the power play. And I guess I'll go with what Rod Brindamore is saying. It's not like I have much of a choice anyway, unless I fire him, but still, I definitely do not agree with that part of the power play. I wish there was something else I could do to fix it. Unfortunately, my coaching ratings are nowhere near as good as Brindamore's are, so I think me just taking over the coaching role of the Calgary Flames would just result in an even worse outcome. So not much I can really do about that unless I make a trade. But honestly, I think it just comes down to Brindamore's not using the right pieces on the power play because we have several players capable of playing on the power play. He's just not using them there. So I feel like going out to acquire a player specifically for the power play would be kind of pointless if he's not going to be used on the power play. We might need more playmakers on this team. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think we need more goal scorers. I think we need more playmakers because we have 220 goal scorers already in Brisson and Pegamagabo. And then we have Coronado, who has 36 assists, but behind him is Muse with 21 as a defenseman. And then Byram with 20, also a defenseman. Then you have Brisson and Pegamagabo, each with 19. They both have more goals than assists. I'm thinking we need another passer on this team. That might be what we need. And now I look at that power play. Yeah, that's got snipers, power forwards. There's only a couple playmakers there, and Stankova's not exactly having the greatest season. He's only got 10 assists so far this year and 10 goals. So, yeah, I'm thinking I might trade for a passer here. That might be exactly what we need, in fact. So I'm going to take a look at the trade block and see if anyone's there. Beckett Seneke on the Colorado Avalanche is on the trading block. And he's a pretty good passer from what I'm seeing. He's got 20 assists so far this year. He had 43 assists a couple of years ago. So he's definitely the kind of player who is going to be a pass first kind of guy. He's rated as an offensive forward for a major role. He's only making $2 million essentially for 2 years. And a 3.5 star talent. He's a good checker too. Like, he's really good all around. I'm surprised this guy's on the trade block. I mean, okay, Colorado, it makes sense because Colorado's actually not good this year. They're 17, 27, and 4. This might be something I pursue. I mean, I would imagine he's going to take quite a bit to trade for, but I am definitely interested in Beckett Seneke here. It's a bit too much to trade for, actually. They want a lot for him. That's understandable. He does have quite a bit of value to him. I'd probably have to include, I'd have to go Antolovsky, 2 seconds, Stankoven, 50% of his salary retained, and maybe even like Sheets. They would take Jason Sheets. Can we even afford to give up someone like Sheets? I don't think so. Right now, he's our only really young defenseman. And I like how he simulates defensively. Nah, I'm going to have to look somewhere else. This is a little too much for me, unfortunately. All right, nothing besides Seneke is really standing out on the trade block at this point. So, I mean, maybe I'll try again for Seneke, see if I could get something else to work without Sheets, but I'm not hopeful for this deal. Yeah, there's not much I can do right now that wouldn't involve giving up Sheets. I don't think that's something I want to do. So canceling this trade, unfortunately. And I'm honestly not really sure where else to look. Maybe free agency? I mean, maybe I'll get lucky. There's someone good passer in free agency, although I doubt it, but can't hurt to check. There are 2 skaters in free agency with a passing rating of 19 or better. Ethan Gauthier and Nathan Aspinall. Unfortunately, neither of them have NHL experience, so there goes that idea. Aspinall's 6'7". Apparently, we used to have him because he played with the Calgary Wranglers in 2030-31. Oh, no, we didn't used to have him. He was signed by the Calgary Wranglers, not us. So he played for our minor league team, but we never actually had signed him at any point. Still, I don't think he'd be much of an improvement over anyone on our current roster, besides maybe someone on the 4th line. But even then, you know, like I'm looking for a top 6 playmaker here, and right now there's no one that fits that description that I could realistically trade for. Yeah, Seneke was my best chance. I don't think that's happening, unfortunately. So I guess what we'll do, we'll advance to the trade deadline. We'll see if the price on Seneke comes down, but if not, then we might just have to advance to the playoffs as is. Shane Wright only has 17 assists. It's a bit concerning, especially considering the amount of money he's making. 7.7. I really would prefer he gets going there. Where is Wright? He's playing on first line, at least as of right now. So why is he not on the power play then? That makes no sense. All right, well, let's just advance to the trade deadline and see what happens. Oh no, Gage Alexander down for 1 to 2 months. Oh no, what the heck is going on? How are we in 7th? Oh dear. Yeah, we are now outside the playoffs, roughly 2 weeks away from the trade deadline. Oh boy, this has certainly been an interesting season so far. Not what I expected either. Man, I don't even know what's going on with this team anymore. Like, season number 1, we were good, 47, 28, and 7. Then next season, we don't make the playoffs, 35, 38, and 9. And then the season after that, 51, 23, and 8. So I thought, hey, we're back. But as of right now, this season, nope, we're sitting outside the playoffs. I am not entirely sure how to explain this team, to be honest. I thought our trajectory was going to be wildly different than what's happening right now. What's going on here? So we got Coronado, 52 points, 48 for Brisson in 48 games, 41 for Pegamagabo, 37 for Muse, 37 for Bernier, 34 for Elfrink. Yeah, we got some lack of depth scoring problems here. Shane Wright with 34, 26 for Stankoven and Panomarev, 25 for Byram. Yeah, got some depth scoring issues here. We're now sitting in 12th goals for per game with a 3.18, and goals against per game, we're sitting 13th with a 3.02. We've definitely taken a hit lately. Power play is as dreadful as ever, 16.2, and even the penalty kill is taking a hit. I mean, the penalty kill is still 9th in the league, but still, that was at like 86.9, I think, before, almost 87%. If we don't get it together before the trade deadline, if we had fallen to 8th below San Jose, I wouldn't know what to say at that point. And it's not like we even have any major injuries. In fact, we have no injuries right now. As a matter of fact, injuries in general have been pretty tame this year. So I can't even blame that. And honestly, depth scoring just has to step up. It's as simple as that. Goaltending's been fine. Dubu's been on pace for 9-12 literally the whole year. Like every single time I've checked, he's been 9-12, 9-13, 9-14. He's been consistent. He's fine. Gage Alexander, 906 for backup in 11 games played. That's fine. The depth scoring, though, is a really big issue. I mean, I don't know what Rob Brindamore's doing there, but whatever is going on here, it's certainly not working. And I know that this roster has the talent. On paper, we're a really good team, but on the ice, that does not appear to be the case, unfortunately, especially as of late. I mean, compared to some of the other teams in the league, we definitely have, I'm going to say like a top 10 roster in terms of on paper talent, but we are certainly not simulating like it. So far, that whole 4th line that we just signed over the offseason has not been great. Tersigny, Arsenault, and McCann. All right, McCann's actually been pretty good. He's actually been pretty good. He has 71 hits. I will take that for a 4th liner. 16 takeaways as well. Yeah, all right. McCann's been good. Now look at his defensive stats. But Tersigny and Arsenault, definitely not. So I'm not sure, especially with how the draft quality has been lately. It looks like there's a 5-star player available in Werner Searcy. Unfortunately, still not a whole lot of depth here in the draft, but there is at least a 5-star player available this year. I mean, I don't want to tank. I know we're not even going to come close to sniffing last place anyway. So it's not like we'd even have the best chance at the first overall pick, even if we started tanking. But it's pretty clear that this team, for whatever reason, doesn't have a consistent simulation. Because remember, back January 1st, we were, I believe it was 22, 11, and 2, I think. Now we're 29, 25, and 3. That is a lot of losing over a short period of time. We've won 1 game so far this month. January, we won how many games? We won 3, 4, 5, 6. We have won 7 out of our last 22 games. Not good. Especially with how our division it, like, I mean, we could very easily get back into the playoffs, no problem, if we started winning. But it's because of that we could also just as easily slide out of the playoffs quickly. So, man, yeah, this is a tough spot to be in. Because on paper, we should be good, but we are clearly not. All right, I think we'll go up to the trade deadline and we'll see what happens in the next few games or so here, leading up to March 3rd, which is the trade deadline. So the next 3 games. Because honestly, those could make or break the situation here as to whether or not we're a playoff team, because we're currently 3 points away from 8th, and we're also only 4 points away from 2nd. So yeah, like I said earlier, this is a pretty tough spot to be in. Yeah, I think we'll just go a week. We'll see what happens after Arizona. And then I guess we'll just have to make a decision depending on the standings. Although it is worth noting that we don't even have a first round pick this year. So I hope for the sake of that we do not miss the playoffs here. Although the picks that we traded are top 10 protected. So I'm assuming that means we get them back if they're within the top 10. But I have a feeling that if we do miss the playoffs, that pick for this year is not going to be in the top 10. It's going to be like right at the bottom of the lottery. Then we would have missed the playoffs and lost out on our first round pick. So I hope that these next few games give us good results here. And we have to hope Deboo can keep doing his thing. He's at a pretty good save percentage so far all this year with that 9-12 save percentage in 48 games played. But really going to need him to take control now with Robble as the backup. All right, so we got 2 out of 3. We're now sitting at 65 points, which means we're 1 point out of a playoff spot, but we're also 4 points from last. So this is a very, very tricky division. This is not the division that you want to be a mediocre team in, because basically every team but Seattle is currently fighting for a playoff spot. And besides maybe San Jose. San Jose, you could argue, are probably out of it, but literally every other team in this division is fighting for a playoff spot. So what do we do here at the trade deadline? Do we make a trade, or do we just hope for the best? Because I'm not trading any of our younger players, but at the same time, we need players like Coronado and Wright and Brisson to help carry us into the playoffs, because there's no point in missing this year with our first round pick being the way it is. And I don't want to trade away any other picks either, so there's really not much that we can give up for a trade is the problem. I mean, maybe I could trade away some players who have been kind of that I'm not a fan of. But even so, I couldn't imagine we'd get a player that's too terribly game-changing out of that. I mean, we still need that passer. There weren't any good ones on the trade block besides that one from Colorado. It looks like he might have been moved already. Let's see their transactions. No, I don't think he was moved. Did they just take him off the trade block? I guess so. Right, it was Seneke. Yeah, it was Seneke. They took him off the trade block. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So as a result of that, there's really not much out there that I'd be interested in. Bryden Yeager for the Senators. He's gonna be hard to trade for though. Even being on the trade block as a 4-star ability, that's likely gonna be more value than we can afford. But looking for right defenseman, yeah, every player of value that they'd be interested in is someone I'm not interested in giving up. So I think we just stand pat and go through the rest of the regular season and hope that we can make the playoffs, because there's really not any better move at the moment that I can see anyway. So we just have to hope that someone steps up and that we can make our way into the playoffs. So with that, let's continue past the trade deadline and into the playoffs. Oh boy, loss against Nashville. That's not good. Come on, boys. Big game against Detroit. Oh no, loss against Detroit 4-1. Win against Minnesota. Seattle, win. Okay. Dallas, a loss. Ugh, come on, guys. Be more consistent. Lost to San Jose. Oh man. Last in our division. And then we win against Seattle. Like, go figure. Edmonton, a win. LA, you have a 7-1 loss. Come on, guys. That's a team you need to beat too, because LA is in third. All right, April 1st, we are 38, 33, and 3. Sixth in the division. I mean, we're not mathematically out yet. I don't know. It's not likely. It's not likely. It's a shame, man. I thought this team would be much better. I really did. Especially given last year. Yeah, like 51, 23, and 8. Like, I expected to be around where we were last year because it's mostly the same roster. The only difference, really, is the head coach being Rod Brindamore instead of Bob Bugner, who retired. So I wonder if it was really Bugner that made that much of a difference. Obviously, we did make a few trades here and there involving, obviously, the fourth line that really was not all that good, and Bell and Mooney. That's the only other trade that we made this year. So besides the fourth line that wasn't doing anything for us, right? I mean, obviously they're performing well in San Jose. Bring in Nico Hischier, the veteran, and then a new fourth line, and then a new coach. That's basically the only difference from last year. And you're saying that that's enough to essentially push us out of the play? I mean, it's looking like that right now. We have 8 games left. We probably got to win 7 out of 8. I'm going to be honest. We probably got to win 7 out of 8 to make it to the playoffs, I'm going to say, which is not likely, unfortunately, with how this team's been simulating. Okay, there's a win against Vancouver. San Jose, come on, big win. That's a 5-4 loss. Then you have Anaheim, lost 5-1. We're not making it. 4-1 loss against San Jose. Why do we keep losing to San Jose? You can't keep losing those key games against San Jose. Seattle, 3-1 win. I mean, we win. We keep winning against Seattle, the best team in our division, and we keep losing against San Jose, the worst team in our division. Yeah, that's hockey for you, I guess. One more game against Dallas. Oh no, Shakir Mukhamadullin injured. We might have just barely missed. Because our record compared to Anaheim, in order for us to even have a chance, I think we would need to win this one in regulation or in overtime. A shootout win wouldn't be good enough here because the Ducks have the row advantage there. And even then, I still don't think we make it. Like, I think we might have just been cut off from the playoffs. I think we might be mathematically eliminated now. I kind of wish the game would tell you what teams have clinched. Like, just put like an X next to their name, you know? And game against Dallas, let's see. We have a 5-4 win. Did that push us in? I don't think so. Nah. Yeah, because Anaheim won anyway, so it literally didn't matter. Oh, man, that's rough. That is rough. Yeah, I really thought this team would be better, especially adding a veteran like Nico, and I guess Bob Bugner might have really made a huge difference in how he simulated. Because him and Brindamore are different type coaches. Bugner was more so in favor of the defensive preference, and I think he also had a physical preference, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he also had an aggressive line matching tendency, and I think that's probably where Brindamore fell short for this team. So we definitely need to evaluate the head coaching position. I mean, I hate to go through so many coaches in a matter of, a couple of years, but the first coach was hired before I came on. Then Bugner retired after like 1 year, 1.5 years. And then you have Brindamore, who's doing a less than exceptional job so far. I mean, maybe I'll give him a little bit into next season, see if he could get it together. But if we go into next season and I'm noticing the same patterns, then I don't think Brindamore is going to be hanging around too long. Man, that sucks. I don't know. Now, this puts me in a difficult spot because do I re-sign some of our older players like Mukhamadullin or Nico? Probably not Nico. He wasn't too good. But like, would I re-sign Mukhamadullin? Because he has an 80 defensive grade. And on a contending team, I would definitely want that. But are we like starting to go into a rebuild here? Because here's the thing. A lot of our players are in their prime or past it now. Like Nico, Byram, Brisson, Mukhamadullin, Panamarov, Alexander, Coronado, Stankoven, right? All these guys up here are either in their prime or past it. We have, I would say, 3 or 4 guys at most who are going to be staying around long term. And then maybe Martin. But even Owen Martin had a really bad season for his standards. He's usually hovering around 40 points, 40 or 45 points. This year he had 27. I don't know how much ice time he had this year. Let's check his ice time compared to years past. It looks like he had roughly the same, at least compared to last year. The year before that, he only had 902 minutes. And even then, he, of course, had 40 points. So, yeah, he just really fell off this year, I guess, because he got basically the same amount of ice time that he's always seen. And then Mukhamadullin as well, in terms of point scoring, goes from 34 to 16. Are there any other players that really underperformed? May as well check that now. Shane Wright only with 45. Now, I expected more out of Shane Wright for sure. I'm guessing that can only be as a result of reduced ice time. Yeah, I would say, yeah, he definitely got more ice time in Seattle because this was the year where he got 832. That was the year where he had a injury, I believe, and he only played 50 games. So stretch that out over the course of 82 games, and it's probably somewhere around here, like 1400. So yeah, he had more ice time in Seattle for sure. So at least with him, it's understandable why he fell off point-wise. Still, I do expect a little bit more out of him than just 45 points. Expect more around, 55 or 60. Highs with 28 points. Definitely expected more offensively out of him because last season he had 47. What was his ice time at? Yeah, he had roughly the same amount he always gets this year. Yeah, it looks like quite a few players vastly underperformed. So yeah, Brisson with 72 points, 63 for Coronado, 55 for Bernier, 53 for Begamagabo, 48 for Muse, 45 for Wright, 44 for Stankoven, 40 for Elfring in 69 games played. So he definitely was not on pace for as many as he had last year. Panamarov with 39, 37 for Byram, 28 for Hayes, 27 for Martin and Sheets, 19 for Tresigny, 16 for Mukamadulin, 14 for Heischer and McCann, 13 for Corbet, 12 for Walker, 11 for Emery, and 9 for Arsenault. Then in goal you have Debut with 66 games played, 4 shutouts, 909 save percentage, and Alexander with 12 games played and a 911 save percentage. Now let's check the team stats. Goals for per game. Yeah, we were 19th in the league, 3.02. Goals against per game. We were 13th in the league with a 3.05. So yeah, the goal scoring was definitely more the problem than defense this year. Power play, yeah. I mean, 16.3. Then the penalty kill, 81.7, 11th in the league. Man, why did Bugner have to retire? I thought we had everything sorted out with this team, but now all of a sudden we're back to, unfortunately, not making the playoffs and looking for more solutions. Highs, I mean, he had 28 points compared to 47. We've seen him at his best. That's the thing. We've seen a lot of these players at their best, and we know what they're capable of, but this past season was just such a down year for everybody that, I don't know. I'll give Highs 2 years at 4.7. Looks like he's pretty set on the 3 years there. I'll give him 4.8. All right, there we go. He came down to 2 years. I'll do that. Owen Martin, let's see how much he's going to ask for. 5.5, man. He's going from 2.5 to 5.5. And then Walker, how much are you asking for? 1.8. Emery, 2.5. Yeah, I'll do that for him. Gage Alexander wants 3 mil. I mean, if he's going to play the same amount of games as last year, I don't know if I want to do that, especially with all these players up here like Martin and Highs who are going to be making much more. Nico, I wouldn't say is going to be re-signed. No, definitely not. I mean, he's asked for 7.5 and a no movement clause. No thanks. And Mukamadulin wants 6.2. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting offseason for sure. Even though we just barely didn't make the playoffs, like this was a failure of a year. It really was. We were 15th in the league, but I don't care about that. We didn't make the playoffs. And the Stanley Cup champions are the Detroit Red Wings, who win over Ottawa, Boston, the Islanders, and Winnipeg. And with that, I think that'll be about it for this one. And the next one, we will go through the year 4 offseason, and hopefully we can figure whatever this is out, because I don't think the Calgary fandom is going to be happy about another season like this, especially after all they've endured the past seemingly decade or so. So with that, one thing's off here, and see you guys in the next one.